Hi, in this video I want to talk about my favorite apps on my iPad. I use the iPad Air M2, which I'm super happy about. So what do I do on this device? My most used app is definitely Procreate, and if you don't know what Procreate is, it's an app to draw, basically. You can draw literally anything you want. You open your canvas from here and you can draw anything. And I use Procreate to create the drawings that you see in my videos or in my thumbnails. I also made a detailed video about this, like talking how I make my drawings in my videos. If you want, you can go check it out. You know, this cliche thing before buying an iPad, like, what am I gonna do with an iPad? Like, you try to talk yourself into buying an iPad, but you ask yourself, what am I gonna do with it? And you're like, oh, I'm gonna draw stuff. That's what I do, actually. Like, not draw things, portraits, landscape or stuff like that, but stuff for videos. And before starting using Procreate, I was using GoodNotes 6 because back then I was more like, no, I want to use this app and my iPad to take notes in my lectures in the university. Back then I was going actually to lectures. And I wanted also to use the app to explain stuff and write stuff in my videos visually. But then I was like, you know what, I should give it a try to Procreate. It is a paid app, so you have to pay for it, but it's not much, and I think it's 100% worth it. And when I gave Procreate a shot, alright, that's what I want to use. It's so much better. I know this video is for iPads, but if you do use an Android and you're watching this video, I can recommend you to use Infinite Painter as an alternative to Procreate. Another one of my most used and favorite iPad apps is Notion. This is basically my life. From my daily task, to-do list, content planners to budget tracking, everything I do here on my Notion template. And not only on my iPad, it's also on my computer, on my phone, because it makes more sense like to have all these devices and they are synced. So if I have a to-do list, I can see it on my computer, on my iPhone, or if I have to like write down a content idea and I'm on my iPad, you know, I want to have a place to write it down. Right now I can't show you much because there are some personal stuff, but if you want to check it out, I will leave a link in the description below and you can check out my Notion template. I have my agenda, content planner, workout, habit trackers, my video editing clients, budget tracker and everything. This is literally my life. Like everything that I do goes here. Even right now that I'm making this video, I have bullet points on my Notion, on my computer screen here, so that I know what I need to talk about. Like it's basically the apps, like which apps I'm going to talk about. It makes my life so much easier. Next up, we have YouTube Music and Spotify. I use both Spotify and YouTube Music at the moment. Till now, I used to use Spotify, but a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what, I want to try all the platforms too. So I gave YouTube Music a shot. And guess what? I'm liking YouTube Music more. I'm actually making a video about this, like how I switched from Spotify to YouTube Music. So I'm not going to go much into details, like why I made that switch in this video. So if you want to see that video, you know, but basically, if I have to give one reason, and this is one of the biggest reasons for me, is that on YouTube Music, you can actually listen to every single thing that is uploaded to YouTube. So on Spotify, you only have to listen to the original music, but on YouTube Music, you can listen to every single cover from literally anyone. A YouTube channel with 10 subscribers made an acoustic cover for a music that I like. I can go and listen to that. And I really like listening to acoustic covers of songs, so that's a huge plus for me. And at the beginning, it might be like, boy, you know, I have all my musics on Spotify. You know, if I make the switch, all my playlists and stuff, you can actually transfer all that to YouTube Music easily. So yeah, at the moment, I'm 90% YouTube Music and 10% Spotify. Next up, we have Paste. It's an extremely useful app and I have it again like Notion on all my devices. What it does is basically, you know, on Macs, on Apple devices actually, when you copy something on one device, it gets copied to all the devices that are on the same iCloud account. So if I copy something on my iPhone, it gets copied on my Mac too. Like I copy on one device and paste on another. It's super helpful. But what Paste does is basically the same thing, but on Paste, you can go back to the things that you have copied before. I copied something, you know, but then I copied something else and I want to go back to what I copied before that. Or you can even go to something that you have copied weeks ago or months ago. I rarely needed to go back to something that I copied months ago, but it is useful for the stuff that I copy in the day. Like I copied something half an hour ago or 2 hours ago and like I want to go back to that and I can easily go find that again. So it's extremely useful in my opinion. Another app is Davinci Resolve. Obviously, as a video editor, like I'm gonna be honest, this is one of my favorite apps, but it's not one of the apps that I use the most. So I don't use it as much, but I really like it. And the reason that I don't use it much is because I have Davinci Resolve on my MacBook. So 99% of the time, I'm gonna edit from my MacBook because it's more efficient for me, it's faster, I can do more stuff, and with all the shortcuts, keyboards, I can edit so much faster and better. But for the times that I'm not editing a client video or I wanna do something simple, just for fun, I use this one. And it's literally like Davinci Resolve. Obviously, you don't have Fusion stuff, but you can edit your video, you can color grade your footage, effects, keyframes, you can add your files from here. It's just super cool in my opinion, and I really like it, even though I don't use it as much. Because like once you get used to editing on a computer, you can go back. Like it's not as comfortable and efficient as editing on a computer. Next up, we have Lightroom. Lightroom is also quite high on my list of favorite apps, and not just on iPad, but on my iPhone too, because I'm someone who likes taking photos, but I don't always carry a camera with me when I go out, and majority of the photos that I take is with my iPhone. The reason that I looked up here because my iPhone is right there. The image that you see right now is I'm recording it from my iPhone. And I use an iPhone 14, so I don't have the latest iPhone 17 Pro Max. But you don't really have to have the latest model to be able to take good photos. Most of these phones do take great photos. Yes, when you compare them, there are some improvements. There are obviously some improvements between the 14 and the 17 Pro Max or something, but still, I might upgrade in a year or so. I sometimes share these photos that I take with my iPhone. I even opened a new Instagram account for this, so if you want to see the photos, you can follow me there. But I edit 90% of the photos that I take. Sometimes I go straight out of the camera, but even if there are small adjustments, I still make some adjustments. So, for example, this photo that I took when we went with my friends to Xanthi in Greece, this is the before and this is the after. So I took the photo, but the day that we went there was both sunny and cloudy, but the moment that I took this photo was cloudy, and in my mind that photo was warmer, so I wanted warmer tones, so I made a few adjustments. I brightened up here. I want this part to be a bit darker, so from this to this. Or a different photo, this one I took in Istanbul, so this is before and this is the after, and I took this photo with my iPhone 14, plain iPhone 14, not Pro or Pro Max. Like you can do so much stuff when editing your photo. You can change the lights, the colors, the highlights, the midtones, the shadows. You can do so much stuff and change the whole image. Like this is the before and this is the after. This one was in Amsterdam. This one was in Rotterdam. Or no, this one I think is in Vlaardingen. And let me show you one of my favorite photos. It looks super cool in my opinion. This was the before and this is the after. And that day was foggy, so that made it 10 times better, the image. Like the phone that you have can actually take really good photos, and with some editing, you can actually make that photo amazing. Yet, I don't really like the latest cameras that are out there because there's so much processing, and I can't shoot RAW with my iPhone. That's one of my biggest cons that I have with this phone. Like that's why I want to upgrade. I can't shoot RAW, so I shoot JPEG, and on JPEGs, the phones that do so much adjustments automatically, like they change the highlights, the shadows, and adding sharpening to the image. I don't like that. But I can understand that because the majority of the people don't know how to use professional cameras and they don't know much about photography. And if you give them straight out of the camera, like stuff like that, a log image, for example, or a raw image, like that's marketing, they won't get it because on raw images or on log, for example, on videos, you have to do the editing yourself. But these phones do that for you and you get that ready image and you are like, wow. And that's the biggest reasons why people say like, why do photos don't look like they used to? Because they add a shit ton of editing on them. Post-processing, highlights, shadows, dynamic range and stuff. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the cameras didn't do that. That's why it was different. Right now, an iPhone 17 shoots a photo and the shadows are like brightest. I'm not even seeing that bright, the shadows. But still, I'm not complaining. And, yeah, you can take pretty good images. Next up, we have Netflix. When I say Netflix, think of it like HBO, Prime Video, Disney Plus, and every other stuff, like all these platforms, because that's where we have come to. Like, I just want to watch something, it's on Netflix. Then I want to go watch something else, oh, that's not on Netflix, you have to go and buy Disney Plus. All right, I buy Disney Plus, and then I want to watch something else. Oh, this one is on Prime Video. So we have to subscribe to all these platforms to be able to watch stuff. And I can't do anything because I like watching stuff. I love watching movies and TV shows. It's my favorite way of unwinding and chilling at the end of the day. I just really like it. Sometimes I watch movies from my favorite filmmakers, and when I say watch, I mean like watch. The shooting techniques they use, the lighting techniques they use, that's what I noticed on myself, like, because I always liked cameras and videos and cinema. Even years before, I realized on myself, like, when I watch stuff, I really check the details, like what lighting technique they use, or like they use this technique on this scene, or this is the X lighting technique. Or Christopher Nolan, for example, the way he uses time in his movies, how he changes colors, like he goes black and white when switches time zones. But basically, I really like to watch stuff. The last show that I finished is Breaking Bad. Yeah, I only watched it now. It was good. And before that, I finished Dexter. That was also good. What should I watch next? Let me know in the comments. Next app is FlipClock. I mean, obviously, there's not much that I can say here. It's a clock. And when I'm not actively using my iPad, I can put my iPad on my desk or someplace else to see the time. It looks good decoratively, like aesthetically. I can use it in my videos, or my B-rolls. It just looks good. And yeah, not much to say. And finally, I have Kindle, and you can say imprint. And I wasn't really sure if I should add this on this video or not, because I don't use it much, to be honest. I do read books. I'm not super consistent with it, even though I try to make it as consistent as possible. I don't read every day, but I want to read more. But when I do want to read, I don't really want to read from an iPad. I much prefer to read from a physical book. Currently, I'm reading this one, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I much rather read a book, a physical book, like hold it and turn the pages. They do smell nice. So if I'm gonna pay for a book, I'm not gonna pay for a digital one. I'm gonna pay for a physical one, and I'm actually gonna have the book. That's how I feel, at least. But I do also have the Kindle app in case I wanna, I don't know. And I don't read much science fiction or fantasy or stuff like that. If I want to go sci-fi or fantasy, I much rather watch that. When I read a book, I prefer reading books that actually give me something, that I get something from the book, like self-improvement, finance, marketing, communication, you know, this kind of stuff. And basically, these are my favorite apps and the apps that I use the most. What are your favorite apps? Let me know in the comments. Maybe there's an app that I don't know and I like. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.